Greetings, everyone. Your cartoonist pal Stan here, back again for another episode of Random Encounters, show where I use random encounter tables like the kind you find in role playing games such as Dungeons and Dragons, and I use those to randomly pick. Let's see that, it's right in the title randomly pick a subject, a who, and a situation, a what, and then I draw that as a cartoon while you're watching. That's the fun. It's all about fun here. I go into that sometimes later in the show. I'm going to start with it right here, right now, tonight. Say the show is about the fun of drawing. This is a game for me. I do this. This is the kind of thing I do to on my own. It came out of things I would do to spring creativity when I didn't know what to draw. Just randomly pick a couple of things, throw them together, and you know messing around with it in different ways, I came up with this show, which is going great. This is the 44th week in a row that we've had a Random Encounters episode. So, coming in on a year pretty soon. That's doing all right. And I'm glad that you all have been here with me. So, without any further ado, I will hopefully. Now, I'll also say that the last couple of nights I've had some troubles, some technical troubles, getting this episode to, or getting my live stream to go out to the sources that it's supposed to go. And really, I will not know unless people drop in a chat, like, say, Dale just did. Dale is here, which tells me that Dale is here watching. I can look at the thing and it says Dale is here on YouTube, which is terrific. Hello, Dale. And I'm guessing Cindy there on the couch too. Hope you both are doing well. Hope things are good. I hear you had some mighty fine weather there in Wisconsin today. A little early spring. Anyway, so clearly it's going out somewhere. Dale, you have set my heart at ease. And with that, I'm going to get into it. So here we go. I have to come over here to my iPad. I'm doing all of this on an iPad Pro using an Apple Pencil and the app Procreate. None of this is sponsored. I'm using all those things because I like all those things. I don't even have a good way to do an affiliate link for any of them. Or, I do that. Meh. Like I say, this show is about the fun of drawing. Let's have that fun. Let us have that fun. So I'm going to come over here and switch over to this view where you can see these are our random encounter tables for the evening. Dale says he's always watching, which is a little sinister, but I believe it. So there's our random encounter tables, and now let's go over to our electronic die rolling app and roll the dice. So once, twice, third time, and 4 is our first who. 4 for who, and once, twice, third time, 1. 1 for what? So 4 for who, 1 for what, and that gives us a Myconid cleaning the bathroom. Oh, Dale has gone so far as to check and see that we are live on Facebook also, which is awesome. That's great. All right, those are my two main platforms. I'm streaming to a few others, but most of my viewers are on YouTube and Facebook, and so it's good to know that it's getting out there. All right, so we got Myconid, of course. I say of course because those who know. But if you're not a long-term D&D player, you might not know. Myconid is a mushroom-based creature. It's like a mushroom folk. And cleaning the bathroom is an interesting thing for Myconid to be doing. So let's see. I think I'm going to start here, making sure my things are all set. I like to do my sketches in blue I think we'll start with a toilet. That seems like a good thing. Certainly, it's going to be in the bathroom, whether or not that's what they're cleaning. Um, God, bathtub with a shower in it. There we go. Doing it. I don't usually do this much background layout, but I want it to feel like a bathroom. So there we go. That is clearly a bathroom. I don't see there's any arguing that. All right. So there's a bathroom, and we can have. Oh, I now have figured out exactly what I'm going to do. I wasn't sure, but my Kinid will have a big mushroom cap. Usually the eyes are on the stem. Okay. I have figured out what I'm going to do, and I think you can probably see what the what we've got here in the basic layout for the drawing. So let's get in here and put some finished lines on that. Now sometimes I spend more time on layout than others. Uh, for a for this kind of thing, let's say what this is about fun. I'm not drawing something that I figure is going to be saleable. Although sometimes I come up with ideas that eventually I think I know how to I make a sticker out of them, or I might be able to finish them and sell them as stock art or something like that. But if I do, then I go back and I redraw them. This drawing, the drawings we're working on tonight are just for fun, which means that I can move quickly. I don't have to know exactly what is going to happen with each section. I just need to have a pretty good idea of what's going on. So I have that loose, sketchy look. Put some yellow rubber gloves, because that's what you wear when you're cleaning the bathroom. I suppose. Now, one of the things I've said, I haven't said this in a while, but there are other um, artists, other uh, more famous artists. I'll even go so far as to say more talented artists than me, like Sergio Aragonés, who makes a lot of hay out of being a very fast cartoonist. And he, when doing something like this, will just dive in without doing any of the sketches. He'll just imagine it in his head and go. I don't have that. I need the sketches. I can't work fully without that. But over the 44 weeks of doing this, I have gotten better at just doing loose sketches. Now, sometimes if I, uh, like in this situation, the loose sketches came out so close to what the final one is. I probably could have gone in and done this just as um, straight to inks, as it were. Consider these finished black lines the same as inks. Back in the days when I was working on paper, uh, these I would literally be using ink. I'd be doing pencil for the sketch part and ink for the finished part. Now I still refer to the blue lines as pencils, even though they're just the same digital line work as the finished version, just lighter. It's more apt to call them sketches, but anyway, Sergio, super good, famous for a reason, uh, for many reasons, in fact, but he he certainly dives in and does drawings without any sketches all the time. Not when he's doing when he's doing work for sale, when he's doing his comic books or his when he was doing work for Mad when Mad magazine was still around. He would I know do the same sketch kind of thing that I do before drawing. But if you ever see him at a show, or online for an event, you'll see that he does all of his drawings. He just starts drawing and goes straight at it. I don't know why I'm making such a point of that. I don't. I'm not. I'm not worried about that. All right. Almost ready to come in here and add the funny bit. I don't know. Should I do the coloring before I add the funny bit? Is going to be a line, a gag. Hello, Linnea. Matango. Myconid. Matango is the name of a Japanese uh, sci-fi slash horror movie from the '60s about mushroom people. So good deep cut joke there, Linnea. Well done. All right, so we put that on. Let's do the coloring and then come back and add the gag, just so I can keep folks in suspense just a little longer. So, what do you say? What color? I'm going to do the myconid's body because I know what color that is. What color should the myconid cap? What color should the mushroom cap be? Folks in the chat. Oh, I'm on the wrong line. Clearly, wrong layer. Folks in the chat room. What color would you like the myconid's cap, mushroom cap, to be? You can pick just one color or two colors because we've got spots on there. Let me know. I will work on the other parts of this drawing for a bit while you ponder that, and I will look up to the chat room in a little bit. And if there are no answers there, I'll just choose. Because that's the way it goes. All right, now I'm going to do, once again, we talk about sometimes and use different shades of white to indicate the shading on, or it's different colors to indicate the shading on the white, which is going to make it look like these items are different colors, but we know that they're all mostly white. See, that a different shade there. Maybe I want that same blue for the tub. And I want anything that's porcelain, I want to give that blue highlight too. Because it makes it feel like a very clean white. And of course we want our porcelain to be clean. Choose a slightly different color for the drawer and another slightly different color for the handle on the drawer. Maybe a light green for the shower curtain. Maybe a reddish color for one of the towels. And a bluish color for the other one of the towels. Oop. How you doing thinking about what the mushroom's going to be? Anything coming in yet? Any ideas landing? And then we're going to use that gray just a little more solid for the curtain rod, the shower rod. And then here's another thing. I'm going to take this and take a little off-color green. And rather than color the walls, I'm going to put lines on the walls. It's going to look like it's wallpaper. So even though I've drawn nothing there, give the impression that there's wallpaper on the wall. Just add a little bit of detail, some patterning on it. There we go. All right, we'll go. Nothing. No one has said anything. All right, well then, I'm going to... oh, wait, I know I still have one more thing I want to get the bottle. There. All right. All right. You leave it up to me. I'll just make the decision. And that decision is going to be purple. A pinkish purple. Kind of a fuchsia. Why? Because I can. Mushrooms come in all kinds of crazy colors. And then we'll pick a little darker version of that for the spots. Want to come in again with maybe a gray color here to get, no, that's too dark. Maybe this will be no, yellow's not going to go well with the skin color. Go back to the bluish under the eyes to give that stress, so they really look like they're bulging out. Oh my God, what's going on here? Because, oh, I guess I need to come in and add a little bit of shadowing. Go. The gloves also. I don't have to do it on everything in the room, but certainly on our main character. I'm going to add a little bit of shading just to give it that extra feeling of three-dimensionality, despite the fact that this is definitely a two-dimensional drawing. Okay. Now the question is, having gone all this far, what's the gag? Have you guessed it yet? Oh, I'm going to come back here to the sketch layer and put it in there. Here we go. Antifungal. No. Yeah, I'm not going to be making my living as a voice actor. Clearly. Thank goodness I can write and draw. Now I can turn off that sketch layer, and we've got. Oh, I'll come back here and find a little corner and put my stand on it, and we have a Myconid cleaning the bathroom, or he's about to. But oh my goodness, antifungal. That's terrifying. Anything I want to do here? I think I want to add a little. I didn't have shades on the towels, but everything else is standing out. There we go. Look at that. I think it's interesting, or it's interesting to me how just a little addition like that really. Again, I talk about this all the time. How it just makes the brain think about it, and suddenly it feels it. That towel just feels so much more real. Um, Despite the fact that all I did was put a couple of vertical lines on it. But there we go. Mike and Ed cleaning the bathroom. Terrified that they found out about the antifungal spray. I'm just trying to decide whether I want to pull the colors back a little bit. Again, what I think in these very strong colors, and sometimes I finish it and think they're just a little too strong. I like basically what they are. In those cases, I come in and I drop the opacity, which makes them a little more see-through. That's opacity means. And what they see through to is the white behind them, the page behind them. If I drop this down a lot, that color drops out entirely. But like 25%, 20%, maybe 15. Yeah, those colors are pretty good, but I think it's better like that. There we go. Myconid cleaning the bathroom. Well done. Time to take a drink. Not a lot of chat going on in the chat room. That's all right. Dave Lemon, though, just did I say that? And Dave Lemon typed something. You know, changing the toilet seat isn't no tool's job. Did I know that? Not having changed the toilet seat, I did not know that, but I would have guessed it since cleaning the toilet seat, I've seen that the screws on it are not, uh, are large and made of plastic, and seem like you could probably take them off with your hands. Have you recently had an experience changing a toilet seat? If so, I don't really want to know the story. Oh, Wisconsin. Yeah, Wisconsin. Joy. All right. So we have done our first drawing. And, oh, I guess I need to come over here and do this. And close that up. Uh, turn off round one, turn on round two. Get everything set. I like to get everything set so that you may have noticed that I do this during the show. I will get to the point where we're about to start a new thing and I will pause and then start because I put bookmarks in the video so people want to skip ahead, and I'd like to have each one feel like a good fresh start. And so I'm getting everything set up here. Right now, we are definitely in the end of the previous section and not the start of the new section. We're about to get to the start of the new section. Here we go. So there we go. That was a good first drawing. We had Mike and Id cleaning the bathroom. Let's go on back to the dice and see what we get for our second drawing. So, roll for the Who, third time, and it's a 4. 4 was what we had last time with the Mike and Id, wasn't it? What about the what? 1, 2, 3, 2. Let's come back to our chart and see what that says. 4 is definitely Mike and Id again. 2 is masseuse. Well, I think I'm going to give you guys a minute or two to look at that and make suggestions. Masseuse, we'll go with masseuse, but we could go with anything you guys want to suggest. But if not, then I think I'm going to option to go to Death Knight because I want to draw a Death Knight masseuse. But if you guys have an idea, I will. I'll give heavy weight to your preferences, provided that it, gets me an idea. I always reserve the right to eat, as Dave Lemon knows quite well. He often has terrific ideas that, for one reason or another, either don't click with me or click in a way that doesn't fit the format. I'm not saying his ideas don't fit the format. I'm saying my interpretation of them doesn't fit the format. But I'll tell you if I don't want to use your idea. But I want to give you the chance to throw some out there. I love taking audience suggestions. It's part of the game. But if no one comes up with something soon, I'm gonna go with a Death Knight masseuse again because that is very amusing to me. All right, so let's move along here. We'll turn off the tables and get over to the sketch layer. Studio pen, blue. All right, so I can get drawing on this anyway because whoever the masseuse is, we're going to need a massage table. And a person on the massage table. Now we're gonna wait from putting too many details on there because some of them will depend on who our masseuse is. But at the very least, we've got a table and a victim, a client. I don't know if you guys are the sort that enjoy massages. I get them all the time because of the kind of work I do, where I'm typing and as I can see, you often can see more of the top of my head than the front of my face. As you might suspect, I have shoulder and neck tightness is just part and parcel of my career. So I have a regular therapist that I go to, and find it quite soothing. All right, there we go. I look up again and I see we don't really have any other suggestions, so we'll go with the Death Knight. There we go. Which means I'm going to change this guy. This guy is not going to be so calm anymore. Because a Death Knight is, well, I mean, it sounds like it's basically a big suit of, it's an evil knight, a dead evil knight, um, in a big suit of a suit of black armor. Um, you can't see their faces. They're just basically, as I say, the big suit of armor. They used to be living, now they are undead and evil, and in this case, performing a Reiki massage. So we'll grab that, put it here, move this over to the center of the page. Ooh, maybe a little smaller, up a little bit. There we go. There we go. I think rather than saying boiling oil, I'm going to have a little incense, little torch underneath it. And it's just going to say oil. All right, now again, I've put just a loose sketch here. And we can go in and start putting in actual lines. Although our Death Knight is the main character here, I'm going to start with the patient because he's up front. He's in front of the scene, and therefore everything is gonna, the Death Knight itself has to can only go where the positioning of our main guy is going to allow him. So I like the idea of the Death Knight in the armor just kind of grinding in with armor. All right, and then we're going to come here. We're going to get the table in. Need to leave enough room between the Death Knight's arm and the start of the towel that you can see what's going on there in the back. Okay. I think what we're going to also have to do here on the other arm is show that the Death Knight has spiky bits on his elbow. So when he digs into the back like that, he's not fooling around. Now, I've had a lot of different massage therapists over the last few years, or over the length of my career. Some of them have stronger or softer touches than others. It seems like the ones that have the strongest touches are the ones that say things like, uh, "Is that strong enough for you? Is that deep enough for you?" Whereas the ones who have gentle touches don't worry about it at all. They just know. So, here we go. We're going to put the Dark Knight's helmet. Sorry, the Death Knight's helmet. I'm gonna. Normally, I would fill that in with black if I was doing this finish. I would want that eye slit to be completely filled in black, but because I want those lines to show up, I'm going to use the faux black that I often do. The dark blue that reads as black. There we go. And that'll let us get a little more personality into the eyes by having the lines still be readable. In fact, I think I was going to have the Death Knight saying something as like what I was saying before with the is that deep enough for you? But I think instead I'm going to have our uh, our customer. I'm going to change this around a little bit and get rid of that horrified look. And I'm going to have him be happy about it. He's going to say, "Oh, yeah." Trying to think, why am I soft? I was trying to think of a character from the Dragonlance Chronicles who is a Death Knight. And uh, Lord Soth is the character's name. I have remembered now. I can't believe after all the work I did in that I ever have to pause to think of any of the characters' names. Um, really know. Trying to think of a phrase here that is not too easily um, misinterpreted. Let's say you really, you really hit the spot. I suppose there's no phrase that won't be possibly misinterpreted. There we go. A little lower. A little lower. Think that I don't think that my line is great. I think that a little lower would be a great introductory. If this was a animated or a multi-panel comic, that would be a good uh, cartoon, a good bubble to have when you didn't see who was doing it yet. All right, there we go. I'm gonna look at that and turn off the sketch layer and see what we got here. Not quite as much detail as I thought there would be. Come back, add a few extra lines here and there. And that's looking good. That's looking pretty good. Let's put some color on that. Oh, you know what? No, we need a little more detail up in the crown. All right, now the challenge, or one of the challenges, is Death Knight is, as I said, in black armor. So I'm going to have a lot of different versions of black, none of which are actually going to be black. But I do want to stick with that basic conceit. I think this gray is going to be a lot of it, but not all of it. All right, so I do need to come in with a much darker one for in here around the eyes. That's the The very, very dark one. Maybe even a little darker. It's funny, it looks so black, right? When I pull this circle up, you look at what's in that circle, and that looks really, really black. But when I draw on it, and you can see how much lighter it really is. Go now. I think maybe rather than blue, let's go with a purple to counteract it, so I can do something that also feels like black, but is now because one's based on blue and the other's based on purple. They still, uh, although they both read as black, they read as different colors. And did I lose that first one? No, there it is. Go. We want the body to be about the same color, and the legs down here. We'll use that purple color. No, I think I definitely want a brown for the gloves. Leather gloves. Leather boots. We'll make the spikes. Use the purple for the spikes and the trim on the boots. And we'll go again with a very dark red for the epaulets and cape, which doesn't really show up much, but there we go. Okay. And let's come in and do our client. Another satisfied client. Soft gets tipped well. He really knows the spot. I'm going to use a light gray here for the towel. Not as so. You used a blue for clean. I want this towel to seem clean, so I'm using a light gray. I don't want it to be the same kind of shade that I used for the sinks and such. I don't want that pure blue. There we go. I think I want to go back and fix those eyes a little. I was very quick in changing them around a lot. And when I look at them now, they just seem messy. So I often will say it doesn't really matter. This is just sketching for fun. And that's true. But part of the fun is you need to recognize if something's really bothering you, then go fix it. Take the time to go fix it. It's fun, but it's your fun. Oops. Try not to worry about things. But if something's really bothering you, take care of it. There we go. We'll come back here again for a the oil drum. You know what, I'll just color the whole thing and then color over the oil to change it. There we go. And I'm once again going to turn the opacity down a little bit. All that black was getting very ponderous, but I only need to go about 10%. And it drops it out. And put the stand on it to lay claim to our finished drawing of a Death Knight. Masseur. Right? It's important. It's different. All right. Yeah, you really hit the spot, Lord Soth. Death Knight Masseur. Ba-da-bop, ba-da-bop. Let's see what we got here. Dave said Death Knight could massage the Mudman. That's I don't know how. Yeah, massaging the Mudman. That would be a different gag. And I don't mind using up multiple things. We've been cycling through. Like Mike and It has been here before. I reuse the creatures from time to time. I don't mind cycling through them. In fact, I mean, each time I put a new one in, it's kind of a test. I think the test here is a Death Knight can work. Maybe I want to practice a little. I'm not super happy with how that Death Knight came out, but I'm satisfied. Again, this is for fun. We had some fun. I'm satisfied, and I've learned that I might need to just practice a little more my generic Death Knight before I put him on the list again. All right, so there we go. Second drawing done. Let's clean up here. Gonna get out of round 2 and into round 3. And I put on the blue sketch, the right kind of pen. And we're gonna turn on the encounter tables one more time. And everyone ready? We're gonna take a pause. 1, 2, 3. All right, well, there we go. We've now done 2 drawings. We did a Mike and Id cleaning the bathroom, and we've done a Death Knight as a masseur. It wasn't a masseuse, it was a masseur. Sorry. Just so happened the Death Knight I was drawing looked more male than female, so maybe I should just say massage therapist next time. Death Knight massage therapist. In fact, that's probably what I'll write when I put this up online. For those of you that don't know, I do put all of these up online on my Instagram and other places, but Instagram's the best place to go. Instagram.com/Stanex. In fact, all of the art that I do publicly shows up there. Dave says He's a meat tenderizer. Yes, he certainly was a meat tenderizer. Um, so check that out. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Come on. Okay, come on, get with it, Stan. We did Death Knight as a masseuse, a Myconid as a bathroom cleaner, and we're gonna go back to the die rolls one more time. Do a third drawing for the night, and then we will call it for this week. So here we go. Time for the next Who. Once, twice, third time, and it's a 4 again. Wow, this die really likes the Myconid. Start warming up your thinking caps, people, because I need some more suggestions. All right, but the question is, what's our what? Once, twice, third time is a 2. That's a repeat. That's an exact repeat, isn't it? Isn't it? Let's go and see. I don't want to put that aside. I was acting like I could go to my computer to change these screens, but everything's taking place on the iPad. So it didn't do me any good to put the iPad down. So yeah, that is again a Myconid masseuse. Don't want to do repeats. I don't want to do repeats. My first thought is to flip them. So then we'd have a Noel in some kind of Star Trek outfit. But since they're both repeats, this really is the anything goes time. So I open it up to those of you in the chat to pitch some suggestions. Any old anything that you would like me to try to draw. And I will take a quick little, I'm not going to take a break, but I'm going to do a little vamping here. First by sipping my tasty beverage, and then by telling you about the other podcasts that I'm doing, the other drawing-based podcasts that I'm doing. And that is on Wednesday nights in the same time slot, 6 p.m. Pacific. And that is called 50 Years in the Dungeon. And it is a celebration of this, the 50th year of since Dungeons and Dragons was invented. And on that show, it's a mix of interview and drawing. So each week I have a guest who is someone from the hobby gaming world. Usually someone who's got a pretty strong tie historically to Dungeons and Dragons. And I interview them. We have a nice chat. And while we're having that chat, I do a cartoon homage to a piece of classic Dungeons and Dragons art. So basically, I take a piece of D&D art from one of the books and I redraw it in my style. Now, the conceit is we've got 50 years. I'm going each episode. I'm going 1 year further along in those 50 years. So we've already done 1974 was the first year. I've done 74, 75, 76, and last night we did 1977. And the ones that are completed also get published to my Instagram, which I posted earlier, but they also go to this. This is a free newsletter that's associated with the show. It's at 50yearsindedungeon.substack.com. And if you subscribe to that for free, you will get a reminder each week of who when the show is coming up, who the guest will be, things like that. You'll also get the finished art sent to you in email each week, so you can look at it. And that's all free. If you are really enjoying it, if you want to show a little support, or you just want to encourage me more, or you're feeling like you want more, well, there is a paying option. If you pay, you will each week get a process video showing the entire drawing from start to finish in a 30-second or longer video. Most of them are about 30 seconds. Yeah, so those aren't available except to people who subscribe who are paying subscribers. But let's say most of the material goes out in the free version, and that's all I'm really encouraging you to do. In fact, it would be super helpful to me if you were to go buy the 50 Years in the Dungeon.substack.com and signed up for the free newsletter. I'd appreciate it. Anyway, let's see what's going on here. We've got Dave Lemon says a Mudman ballet class in snowshoes. All right. Now that is gilding the lily a bit, but it does sound funny. I'm willing to go with that. Let's take this off. We don't have any other suggestions. No competing ideas. You win the marketplace of ideas, Dave. So we're going to go, and that means that next week the this random encounters chart is going to have a lot of things switched out. That's, I guess, when you apologized earlier. The only thing that is work is that I'm going to have to fill more slots next time because I don't like to keep, other than adventurer, I don't keep the same monsters on there. Once they've been picked, they come out for a while. So we're going to have, let's come here, turn that off. We're ready to go. We've got a Mudman ballet class in snowshoes. All right, so I guess the first thing I need to do is forget that it's a Mudman and start thinking a little bit about what we do to make it a ballet class. Could put them at the bar like that. Or I'm going to shrink that down and put it on the side. Or could go to instead of it being a class where we see the classroom, we could just go for Mudman Ballet. Like this. And, you know, if this was a Mudman, it would be dripping all over the guy who was holding it up. That's pretty funny. I like that. The only question I have is what I should be doing with the arms here. There we go. Definitely put a tutu on that Mudman. All right, I like that one. That's what we're going with. So I'm going to take this part here, and I'm going to cut that out so it's gone, and I'm going to grab these two, and I'm going to make them bigger on this page. There we go. So now I got the sketch, the rough sketch. I just need to do a couple of more placeholders so I know what they are now. Again, this is a Mudman. So, and where did the snowshoes come in? Well, it's a Mudman in snowshoes. Why is the Mudman wearing snowshoes? I don't know. Because that's that's just how it goes in the classic Mudman ballet, Mud Lake. There we go. Let's see. Happy Wolf Arbors here, says Stan. Glad to catch you live video. Saw the legendary sumo wrestling just retired. Well, oh yes, you're talking about Tochinoshin, the Georgian who just retired a couple of weeks ago. Well, he retired a while ago. He had his retirement ceremony a couple of weeks ago. He retired uh, a year and a half ago. Um, but uh, the retirement ceremony, the Danpatsushiki. Yeah, I'm sorry to bring sumo into all this for everyone else. I'm not sorry. I love it. But please just pause a minute. I'm going to talk a little sumo right now. Um, the Danpatsushiki, the ceremony where they get their top knot, NOT, top knot, cut off. Uh, Sometime, well, very often doesn't happen for several months after they retire, and in recent days, in recent years, it's been years because of COVID and several other uh, COVID's, and then the backup that has they still haven't they haven't gotten through, and in the meantime, more people keep retiring. All right, there we go. That's a sketch. So let's go to our lines layer, turn on the black lines, and I think you can see quite clearly what's going on. I'm going to start with the Mudman this time. Some of this is might have to change when I go to put the other ballet dancer on the put the details in, but I think that most of this will stay. Like this part here, the under part of the arm, that's going to have to change some. Got too much going on back there. I want the dripping to be clearer. I guess now I do need to put that arm in there. When working on a finished piece, this is the way I would go for, figuring out where to draw all these details. And then once that was decided, I could very easily just stick to the one character, just draw the Mudman if I knew where everything was the whole time. But since I have to figure out where that placement goes, to stop in the middle and solve that problem. All right, and then we're going to have the snowshoes. Dave, you were a Cerebus reader, right? Comic Cerebus, the aardvark. I know that you know what I mean. I'm saying that for the people who may not know what that question meant. Yes. So you remember the snowshoe episode, the snowshoe issue of Cerebus? Man, I think about that all the time. It was very funny. For those of you that don't know, now I'll fill the rest of you in on the what I'm talking about. There's an episode or an issue of Cerebus where the main character was uh, I don't have to tell most of the story, but he had to go and find out, get an answer from a farmer who lived out in the hinterlands where it was covered with snow. And in order to get out in, the farmer made him go with him as he was doing his chores, which meant going out by snowshoe into the fields. And most of the uh, episode, most of the issue had Cerebus not very good at using the snowshoes and having the sound effects of wuffa 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 at the bottom of each panel. The old man could use them and get by without really making any sound effects, but because Cerebus didn't know what he was doing and it was a big, heavy workload for him, they used as uh, overbearing sound effects of wuffa wuffa wuffa. And in fact, they used it in some very clever ways. To show as they were moving across the field, the sound effect would start small in one panel and then grow bigger and bigger and bigger to show that although the drawing had them up front near the camera of the scene, by having that wuffa 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 start small in the background and grow behind them, it gave the whole impression of them having traversed that long path and it being an arduous journey. It's one of those things that one of those magic things that you can do in comics. There are things that you can't do in showing motion, but you can apply motion and imply the passage of time in some pretty interesting ways. That's one of them. Um, anyway, it was a super funny story. In the end, the farmer makes a decision of what he needs to, and instead of telling Cerebus, he uses a signal to tell someone else to go into town and let them know his decision. And Cerebus then has to go back to town in order to find out what it was. But there's a very funny, the closing section has Cerebus is standing next to the farmer. He finds out, I've got to go back to town. And so it's just a shot of the farmer, and you have the sound effects of the wuffa wuffa wuffas getting smaller and smaller as Cerebus goes away. And then all of a sudden, they start getting bigger and bigger. And after a few panels of them getting bigger and bigger, Cerebus comes back and re-enters the scene and says, "You can't change your mind now, can you? Couldn't change it if you wanted." He said, "Nope, sent it in. My boy's going to deliver my decision." And so Cerebus hauls off and decks him. And then wuffa 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 out of the scene. It is brilliant. It's a brilliant bit of comic art and comic storytelling, cartooning storytelling. At least I think so. All right, there we go. We got the Mudman Ballet in snowshoes. Ah, Dave, you crazy man! Look what you make me do. I think that looks good. Let's turn off the sketch and see how that looks. Maybe a little more line-wise up here. Just a little extra bits. There we go. That's looking good. And now we can come in and right now I think that the um the guy's the lifter's face, it's a little hard when you zoom back to see that mouth. just kind of disappears in that bunches of lines. But I have figured, and we'll see if I'm right, that when I add the color to this, particularly when I have the mud slopped on his face, that will change that, and it will become something that even when we pull out at the end, you will very clearly see that kind of straight line mouth of there we go. All right. So let's start with the Mud Man. We're going to go to the colors layer now, so I don't make the mistake of drawing on the same layer. I think that's about the right color. Gonna get my gloaming brush, which I haven't talked about yet. That's what lets me lets me do this kind of drawing, this kind of coloring where um, it it's like a crayon or a marker. I can do these large shapes rather than color everything fully. I'm working with the shapes that make up the larger the body. So instead of thinking of the body as one piece, I'm looking at these different shapes, and by doing that, it helps with that feeling of depth and depth and texture is the word I was not thinking of for a second there. And as I say every week, when you're doing drawings on your own and you've got crayons or markers, you can use this same technique to get just a little extra oomph into your drawings. I think people will be a little more impressed with what you've done, and often by weirdly by coloring less, but doing it in a specific way. There we go. And again, I think that by putting the color in there, suddenly, even to zoom out here, that mouth does stand out a lot more than it did just a couple of seconds ago. It's easier to notice, or so it seems to me. No, that not a good color there. I think we're going to go for there we go. And we're going to give leotard or unitard and leggings, because that's what you do when you're dancing ballet. And then the snowshoes themselves, wooden frames, and I think I'm going to come in here. I am going to go with a white, a blue color for the strings, but I'm going to just put them in there to give the hint of color on the on the strings, also make them stand out a little. And let's come back in and do a little bit of that shading I was talking about before too, where we take a darker version of the I'll go back to my gloaming brush of the color and put it on underside or the side away from the light, depending on how you want to think about it, and create these hints of shadow, which again add that feeling of texture. These are not technically correct. I know you've probably heard me talk about that before. If you're getting serious about art, then you want to think about how to correctly put shadows on, where they would fall and where they wouldn't. But when you're just doing loose, fun coloring, it doesn't really matter. You're just trying to get the idea right, and the brain, your viewer's brain will do the rest. There we go. Looking good. Looking good. And maybe the skin too. No, darker than that. It's got to be strong enough to stand out, but not so strong that it looks like it's a separate color unto itself. I just said unto in a casual sentence. All right, there we go. That's I like that. Good thinking, Dave. Accompanied by the slide whistle trio. Yes, indeed. All right, so we're going to come over here and put a stand on that, and we have ourselves Mudman doing ballet in snowshoes. Special request for David Lemon. That's right, David Lemon. So there we go. This is fun. That was good. I like that one. Spawn Lake. All right, so let's take a deep breath. Crack my knuckles. I'm not really crack them, but just stretch a little. And get ready to go into the last set. Again, I'm going to ramble here for a bit, and then I'm going to take a pause, and that'll be the bookmark to go into the outro section if you go back and look at the video later. If you're watching this on replay, it's very boring for you because you've watched right through here, and I'm just rambling for no reason. But if you skip ahead, you'll get to the next section. Go ahead. Skip. And stick with me. Here we go. All right, well, there we go. We've done 3 good drawings. I think this one, inspired by Dave Lemon, who's in the live chat, which is a good reason for those of you watching on replay why maybe you want to come into the live chat. You have the opportunity to help decide what it is that I'm going to be drawing. In this case, this is all Dave's idea. Well, the words were all Dave's idea. The pictures are what came to me. But here's the other fun thing. If you're watching, grab a notebook and a ballpoint pen, or grab your favorite electronic drawing medium and draw your own versions of these. It's a lot of fun. And hey, that's what I said we were here for. We're here for fun. And it worked. So, there we go. Our 3 drawings this week were Mudman Ballet with snowshoes, and Death Knight massage therapist, and Mike and Id cleaning the bathroom. You know what? I think actually, at least that this first one could be turned into a cartoon that could be published somewhere. I don't know where, but yeah, I mean, if I was still doing the 10 by 10 toons, did a single panel fantasy gaming themed cartoon, I might take this one, this Mike and Id one, and make that into a single panel cartoon. and publish it because I think it's really funny. I think that the Mudman Ballet is sheer genius, but I also think that it's probably a you had to be there kind of joke, which is very often the best kind. Um, anyway, thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you, Dave and Linnea. Thank you, Dale and Cindy. Uh, Thank you. Who else is here? Happy Wolf Art. And I think that's everyone who poked in and said hi. I know that we've had more people viewing, and I'm so happy about that. You don't have to join the conversation, but you are always welcome to. In the meanwhile, I will remind you that I will be back again next Thursday for another episode of Random Encounters. I will also be back next Wednesday for another episode of 50 Years in the Dungeon, the uh, the live podcast where I'm interviewing D&D celebrities or D&D designers and participants, uh, and doing a live drawing of an homage to a classic piece of D&D art, all at the same time. It's Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and you can get the free newsletter for the show by going to 50yearsinthe.dungeon.substack.com, and I'd take it as a kindness if you would just go get it. You can have the email it sends you sent into spam. I don't care afterwards, but if you subscribe, it does good things for me, and that's what I'm all about. I'm all about me. So thank you again for showing up, everyone. I really do appreciate you. It's not all about me. I wouldn't be here without you, and I want you to know how much I appreciate that. So I'll be back again. You can find me on my Instagram at instagram.com/Stanex. If you want to get deeper into the world of Stan and participate on behind the scenes stuff, you may want to consider joining my Patreon, which I haven't talked about in a couple of weeks. Patreon, patreon.com/Stanex. And people who are paying members over there get things like holiday cards and stickers and other nice things kind of sent to them from time to time. And every piece of art that I do that is publicly available gets sent to you in email. So you don't need to worry about going over to Instagram and keeping track or worry that you might miss something that I published. Because whatever it is, I make sure you get it. So there you go. The end. Dave yells out, stickers! Be the schmoo you want to see in the world. I couldn't have put it any better. I'm just going to leave it at that. Be the schmoo you want to see in the world. And I'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.